Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Simply Sketchy. And today I have once again brought with me the one, the only, the Bleach Demon. Hello, dude.
Gre- Greetings, salutations. Well, since I tormented you once with the Star Wars Holiday Special, I figured I'd pick up the next best thing. Perspective.
Yeah, we're we're technically friends, aren't we?
Mm, I mean, that's what the Stockholm Syndrome is telling you, correct?
Yes, apparently.
See, you thought I was here trapped with you. You've been here
Huh.
trapped with me the entire time.
How the turntables turn. Oh, that's why M. Night Shyamalan is standing in the fucking corner. What a
Yes,
twist!
dressed in red and telling you that, no, don't wear red. What an
Oh.
overrated director he turned out to be.
Right. Though that's been a lot of them. Like, yeah, the dude directing so many of the fucking Netflix and animation video series. What's that loser called? The dude with the weird cap, long hair, and receding hairline.
Yes.
You know, there's a thing. You can have that and carry it well, or you can go around acting like you're one of those '90s tough kids and look like a total tit. I've seen people who have a receding hairline that goes all the way back to the back of their heads, and they carry that with at least some level of fucking dignity. I have some
I mean,
respect
that
for
is
those
true.
people. Yes, there
That
are
is true.
people who can carry that and be respectable. My grandfather was one
And
of
then there's
those.
the ones that don't.
Yes.
Yes.
As if denial is the only thing that drives them. But now we have started this, we have gone in 2 minutes, and we haven't even talked about what the subject is, Bleach. Since you chose it, you can introduce it.
So, well, I mean, thank you. You do get your water ration for the day. So
Yay!
we are talking specifically about the Mako light, but we'll probably get into some of the other, ghost lights or spook lights, as they're called. So the spook light is been identified since sometime in the 19th century, and it's in a place called Mako Station, which is in coastal North Carolina. And this particular light is part of what was on a set of old railroad tracks. And of course, it naturally goes with the, oh, well, here's this one legend. And then it also gets into, well, it's just swamp gas because, swamp gas is the solution for everything that's not easily explainable by science. TM.
Swamp gas that magically ignites in a liquid in a very, very moist area. Perfect. Let's
Yeah.
never talk
Yeah. I
about
mean,
it ever again.
exactly. Don't do any actual studies or trying to figure out or anything like that. No, no. So the tale that goes along with it is a train conductor. Although it doesn't always make sense for him to be a conductor. Maybe a brakeman was on a track where one of the trains, and this was at what a railroad called the Wilmington Manchester Railroad.
All right.
So real thing. So he was supposedly out on the tracks, and it was a rainy night, waving his lantern to signal an oncoming train. And the oncoming train didn't see him and just barreled into the back of one of the other train cars. Sometimes sometimes it's the caboose, sometimes it's a passenger car again. And he was decapitated, supposed is in one version, just crushed to death in another, and his full body was never recovered and buried. So the story then goes, sometime afterwards that, again, Joe Baldwin was kind of seen with his lantern looking for his missing head.
Right.
So,
I mean, it's awkward being without a head, so you got to find that thing before you head on to into the great beyond.
mm-hmm. So, yeah. So that's the basics of the story. And where it gets interesting is some of the coloration. So, again, it's like this white light is what was reported. Well, railroad signal lanterns are usually green or red, depending on, go or stop.
Right.
Just
like a vehicle lamps then.
What more like naval vessels for port and starboard, but they used red lights for braking or stopping and green for go. So it's like traffic lights, perhaps.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I mentioned.
There's a whole
traffic lights.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's like, okay. Well, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So the story started, coming around 1886 when there was a rather sizable earthquake in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
And very rare for that, a large magnitude earthquake in that part of the country.
Right.
And so it's like, oh, well, that has to be the cause because it shifted something in Wilmington. And, so it released these gases that just magically caught fire at the right time.
Oh dear, I have a bad case of gas.
Exactly, Mr. New York man.
Oh dear.
New York. New York man, a copyright of "We're not getting copyright struck." So something interesting stuff with the Mako light is President Grover Cleveland stopped in Mako in 1889 and to go see the light. So naturally, and it's apparently still seen to this day.
Okay.
And that's the thing that's interesting. It's like it's consistent, and of course that's why it's always like, oh, it's marsh gas or refraction of headlights, and sometimes it's like, oh, okay, that's a rather convenient way to discourage this.
Yeah.
So, a couple interesting little notes before we continue to dive into this. So, Baldwin, they always refer to him as Joe Baldwin in a lot of stores. Baldwin was one of the major train locomotive manufacturers.
Right. But he was he handy with a gun?
No. So, Baldwin Company.
Yes.
Yeah, it was, it wasn't of course it was named after a man, but Baldwin in steam engines or no, Baldwin Locomotive Works. I always get that a little confused. So they started in 1825 by a man named Matthias Baldwin, and that company existed all the way up until 1951. So I've always speculated maybe that name was picked because of the association with Baldwin engines.
Maybe.
And so it's kind of like, okay, this is a little odd. Now, because there was nobody by the name of Joe Baldwin in that time. Now, there was a Charles Baldwin who died in 1856 in that general area, so it's like, well, maybe that's, you know, the same guy. And so it's not 100% clear if they just merged the name or picked a name and just ran with it, you know, that sort of thing.
Be a lot of things.
Yeah, and it's always difficult to know what the origin of a lot of these things are. But it is interesting that you've got, you know, the possibility that it's named after one, you know, real man. They just misattributed the forename, or it's named after the engine manufacturing. So either is a very, very high possibility.
Would make sense in his own way. Not extremely unlikely.
It's interesting. So I did find a article on the possible source of the Legend of Joe Baldwin by James C. Burke in the Wilmington Railroad Museum. And it says, however, conductor Charles Baldwin was thrown from the train with such force to inflict fatal head injury. Coroner John C. Wood, I think it's John C. Wood, summoned the jury to determine the accident occurred by a conductor failed to hang a lantern at the end of the train, which would have alerted the other engineer to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Wilmington Journal, number 14 January 1856. So that's probably the true origin of it. But that said, you kind of like, okay, well, that's, yeah, there's a head injury, so it just got exaggerated into decapitation or misunderstood in the obituary.
I mean, that does happen with a surprising frequency, let's be honest.
Indeed. And I think the other thing is, it's an easy leap to go from Joe to Charles. Just, you know, when and people are like, but those are two wholly separate names. When it's being told and retold as an explanation, people are going to screw it up. And Joe's a lot easier to remember than Charles.
Yes.
So that's kind of the background. And of course, you know, when you get into, you know, like the 60s and 70s, there's, you know, investigations because it's become popularized, because what else are you going to do in rural and North Carolina? Go out to look for, you know, a lover's lane kind of area, looking for a spooky light and hope for the best. So it's interesting, and there are some photographs that have been taken, although, yeah, it's always one of those, is it staged? It's kind of dubious, you just never know. But it is interesting that it's not just a, you know, one-off. It's this consistent thing for, I would say, probably 80 years. Now, so that's kind of the general background, the general story. The interesting thing is, in the 80s, I've got an actual date somewhere in here. I want to say it was like 86 or something like that.
Sure.
Because the one of the trestle bridges was destroyed in 1977. The railroad tracks got pulled up in the 80s, and they still saw the light. Granted, with decreasing regularity, and that I find interesting. So, okay, so were the rails conducting some energy that could set something off? Could they?
Did it just run out of steam after some time?
Yeah, I mean, if that the other thing with the lights is that they would always be kind of like in a fixed timetable, which is always interesting, and then it would kind of just go past where people were. People would try to stop it and get in the way of it, and then it would just disappear. So that's kind of
not exactly what one would call normal these days.
No, far from. But so it's interesting. So that's in the eastern part of North Carolina. In the western part, and I think we've discussed this before, are the Brown Mountain Lights.
Right.
And those are similar in appearance but different in behavior, and you don't have the really blatant swamp aspect, because you get some pockets and there's certain bog areas, but not up in the mountains, but not in that particular area, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. And let's see, so light was described as chilling and resembling a light thrown from a kerosene lantern at a distance about 50 feet, according to a reporter for the Robusonian, which is a local newspaper to Lumberton, somewhere down in that part of North Carolina near I'm not gonna near Fayetteville. I'm not gonna call it Vietnam. Oh wait.
Too fucking late, dude.
Uh-huh.
It's smooth.
I try. So that's kind of the rundown of the Mako light. Now, the interesting thing is it's not, we talked about the Brown Mountain Lights, but there's the Light of Saratoga, which is in Texas. Sometimes it's also called the Bragg Light, and that follows a dirt road. So that's interesting. And it's got kind of a similar setup where there's a railroad worker decapitated, and he's looking for his head. And that one came from roughly 1902. So that's the Bragg Road one. Then you've got the St. Louis Ghost Lights, which is in Canada, St. Louis, Saskatchewan. Might be part of the U.S. You just never know. And it's about, if it also follows an old abandoned railroad. So there's ghost train tales, stuff like that. Also, the Gordon Light, not to be confused with Gordon Lightfoot.
Prima.
And that's in Arkansas.
Arkansas or
And
Kansas?
Arkansas. Arkansas is when you know somebody from Arkansas and you want to mess with them.
Yes.
But, yeah. Now this one, it's not 100% sure if there was a abandoned railroad near there or not, because there were all these logging railroads as well. So that's interesting. And then we've got what's called the Paulding Light, which is in Michigan. And of course, all of these are ghost lights. Ghost lights that are natural gas. So it's on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So you've got the mitten and then you've got the upper part. And the interesting thing is, it's been scientifically investigated, and they had a telescope and trying to track vehicles and yada yada yada, and they're like, well, maybe it's an inversion layer, which is possible, but it's also okay, but it has to be the right conditions all the time. The problem becomes, one, the lights are usually a single consistent color. They don't follow the same pattern, like necessarily linear patterns, like a car driving across, because there's usually some vertical motion. So that's interesting. And then, oh, okay, so it's just a reflection somewhere. That's fine. But again, you have to have all these atmospheric conditions at the same locations almost all the time.
That is possible. It happens all the time. Lightning always strikes twice.
Yes.
And 4 times and 5 times.
And unlike, I don't know, the St. Elmo's fire. So. And apparently, there's a set of lights called the Hessdalen lights in Hessdalen Valley, Norway.
Gee, I wonder what gave me an idea that was Norwegian. Hastdal?
Yeah.
Why does that sound so damn familiar?
Can't speak anything.
Nah,
But
I'm just being paranoid.
absolutely, yeah.
Yep. So yeah, Forest Valley. Norwegian naming conventions are interesting.
So, and of course, we can't leave out the Min lights, which are in Australia.
In Beswick's backyard, no doubt.
Correct. Although the current hypothesis is that they're actually just giant spiders that have adapted bioluminescence and wings.
Yeah, it's actually the draw bears.
I mean, it could be, yes.
Mm-hmm. You know what? They're out there waiting. Looking at Bessick every night he goes to sleep. He thinks that they're fake. Like every Australian thinks they're fake, right? It's like, we got them there, terrorists, mate. But little do I know that they're like the squirrels, waiting, watching for the perfect moment.
So the Min lights are a little different,
Okay.
in that they actually follow people. That's part of the lore with those, where these other lights, the Mako light, the Saratoga, Marfa, yada yada yada, are kind of fixed. It's like they're following a path,
Right.
and the Min lights, they definitely do not.
Yeah, they're rebels to do their own thing.
And apparently people have shot at them once upon
I
a
mean,
time when Australians could protect
What?
themselves.
Australians never had guns. What are you talking about?
I mean, the emus had guns.
Yeah. The one true enemy of Aussies. The emus.
I mean, that's why I'm just pro emu rights.
Yeah. I mean, I understand, though, because the emus evolved to the emos, and that's just bad.
Yeah, that's definitely not good.
Nope.
So, something interesting to point out that the will of the wisp is heavily tied into a lot of these lights, and they're trying to lure travelers off into the distance, and I think the German and maybe the Swedes are, they're the souls of unbaptized children.
Yeah, we do have some myths like that in Norway, too. Like, I don't remember their name, but we do have a play in Norway in which children who aren't baptized, when they die, become these returning, haunting spirits. Bit unnerving when you think about it.
Yes, just a lot.
Norway took Christianity really serious when he first converted. It was like, yeah, we're gonna do it proper.
Well, I mean, I can't blame you. And then you get you get them all around the world. That's the other interesting thing.
I think there's some in Japanese and other things too. The dead holding candles, or not candles, but the
dead man's hand candle stuff. That's where that actually originates from, or some of those myths.
Yep. Hell, even Tolkien used it for his work, in the marshes, little lights.
Yes, the dead marshes.
Yep. That shit ain't unnerving.
Yeah. I just find it interesting that because they've there have been theories that it's ball lightning. It's like, not really.
What is
and
a
then
ball lightning?
It's swamp gas. Ball lightning is a very rare phenomenon where basically like a hypercharged lightning bolt kind of like comes down, but it's just really compact and flies around and then disappears, and it's in the shape of a ball.
Really freaking obvious, but
I mean, it's worth asking. It's not St. Elmo's fire, but it is something similar, and it tends to like just fly around, and again, it has a lot of the characteristics of standard lightning, but in miniaturized ball form, and it's like illuminated to the point where it's like a small flashlight or something minimum. Sometimes it gets brighter. Which is interesting, because there's a record in Canterbury from the 12th century, and then in the 17th century there's one at Whitcomb Moor, or Whitcomb in the Moor. So yeah, it's just there's all sorts of interesting things like this. But it's like, okay, where's that line of, oh, well, this is just BS to, oh, well, actually, this thing is really, really real, and we don't quite understand it, but it's there.
It comes from a time where everything has to have an explanation, even a bad one. But that is, though, the
Yeah.
part of the thing about about science in general. You search for an answer, you find the most likely one until that one doesn't really last anymore. Or at least it used to be like that until it became more of a modern state religion.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing I always find very annoying about this almost like obsessive, well, we can't positively prove it through science, so it must be false. It's like, we haven't been able to prove a lot through science until we develop the technology to understand it better. And I don't know how many episodes we've done where we bang on. It's like, look, we just do not know enough to understand some of the phenomena that we classify as supernatural.
There's an answer to everything. It's just about if you can answer it the right way, if you answer the right question.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a matter of putting your ego aside, and that's very, very hard to do.
Yeah. Hell, and the things I think I know, well, I mean, if you want to know how talking to someone with who puts their ego on the line, talk with a Latino. If they think they're right, or even when they're not right, they will take umbrage to being wrong.
That's fair. Yeah, yeah. It's a culture thing. It's like, oh, I can't be proven wrong. I'm like, it's fine. Nobody cares. Don't get your little ego wrapped up in it.
But then again, it's
And-
also the loss of a discovery for many people.
Yes, and I think that's more of a shame, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's kind of that loss of wonder in the world.
Mm.
And I think we desperately need more of that.
Yeah. Be fair, there is a lot of wonder, but you're kind of not allowed to wonder about it. It's become taboo to believe in more, unless you're a crazy cat lady who believes black magic is real. Of course, then it is okay. Then
Well,
it's
yes, yeah,
perfectly
and
fine.
Then they'll be, doing voodoo or hoodoo or that voodoo you do so well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to go there. I just had a picture of Harvey Korman in my head and I couldn't get it out.
It is. Yeah. I don't mind the people who believe in the supernatural. I myself believe that there's a lot more between heaven and earth that we can see. Anyone saying that there isn't, oh, we'll see, I guess.
If you just want to reduce everything to the most boring, I really don't have time for people like that.
Which is
And
fair.
and that's, oh, you must be against science. And no, I'm against robbing people of joy.
Yeah. And I'm against science when it tries to replace religion. Because science
Yes.
doesn't have any morals to follow. It doesn't have any rules, any structure. It's just, well, it's a way to find solutions to questions. It is not a moral a guideline, for fuck's sake.
Correct. It is a framework for exploration and demonstrable repeating of a thing.
Yes.
Where but it also is a very cold mistress in a sense.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's necessary. Without it, you won't get half the progress we have. Not even half, you get even less. But
Well, yeah.
it does not a moral framework make.
And that's the thing, and I think, when you get a lot of, oh, we'll just be a good person, like, and how did we understand how to become a good person? Wasn't from nothing, wasn't through science, because science would say, well, it's, just do whatever it is to get the right outcome.
Yeah. Though I do hold more with the people who said it's a communal thing, a tribal thing. I can agree with that.
Yes,
There's some truth to
yeah,
that.
there's a lot of it, but when you have cross cultural, yeah, interactions on the scale that we have now, it does kind of reduce the validity currently of, we shouldn't have universal morals. We should have hyper individualized morals, and that just seems goofy.
Some things that have to be universal. Like
Yes.
measurements, but certain countries didn't decide that should be that. Thank you, England. Thank you, America.
You're welcome.
I can't believe you let the French measurement be the one to dominate. It's
I think it had a
embarrassing.
lot to do with Napoleon. So, just saying.
At least he was
It's,
kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, he almost conquered all of Europe for a while.
The only French who ever accomplished anything noteworthy.
True. I mean, eh,
And then he got his
No.
ass kicked in Waterloo.
well, he got it kicked twice, technically.
Still, he
Wa-
lost in a place
Waterloo was
called...
the final straw, but
Yes, but that's still his
Oh.
last stand was in a place called Waterloo.
correct, which is
Yes.
Belgian.
Disgusting.
Huh? So, and then he was what? Battle of Leipzig, where he was defeated, and then the coalition invaded and captured Paris, forcing him to abdicate in 1814. Then he returned for the 100 Days campaign, or I can never remember the. I'm not as big on Napoleon as I ought to be.
Well, it's French.
We.
We're interested in German, to be honest. Even they screwed up.
I mean,
in there.
fair. Well, yeah, they should have just sat back and said, no, we need to adopt the American model of no long entanglements with foreign powers.
Yeah. The real ones who caused the entire crap, and they got away too, right? And that was the Austro-Hungarians.
Mm-hmm.
Start a shitstorm and then get your strongest buddy to take the blame. They got away light too.
Well, but they also got destroyed as a country, so.
Again, how's that a
It's a
problem?
50-50. I mean, in the fallout of things, kind of balances.
Yeah. I still think they got up too late.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but
Yeah, the resulting years speak for themselves. Those who know, they know.
yeah, oh, that's coming along nicely, sir.
It is. I'm basically just trying to do a mountain area, so we'll see how that turns out. I'm far from done, but I'm not too far from done. It's got to be interesting scene because this is gonna be like a full night, I guess. Try to see if I also get some darkness in the corners. It's a gradual thing. This is just pure experimentation, or as you could say, fuck around.
Yeah, we're going to find out, aren't we?
Oh, we're definitely in the month for that, without saying too much. So yeah, I'm basically doing this as a training for backgrounds, because, perspective is evil, pain, cruel. the one who invented the concept, he's on my shit list.
You mean God?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Big G, but the perspective was one of your worst creations. Aside, no, actually, no. He made the Canadians and the French. He's done worse. Is it really his fault?
I
There was a certain morning star. Oh, it makes sense now.
Anyway, we could get into some really hot water for your channel if we go into my discussions about all that. But,
Yeah, maybe not yet. So, let's try to keep the channel going. Besic is probably not going to be happy about this, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be Devitrim.
I'm trying to keep the peace.
So yeah, it's all just a bunch of experimentation at this point, trying to see how to make it work, using different brushes, which is why everything seems so random and disconjoint, because it is.
Mm-hmm.
It is random. There's no sense here. The sense abandoned the building, looked at you, called you weird, and ran away. The sense is a bit much of a wuss.
Fair. I mean, I feel like I'm definitely over here being abused by this Norwegian.
You deserve it. You deserve it. You know what you did. Oh,
what did I do? What did I do?
Spreading the joy of life day, of course.
Clip that.
That's gonna be fun. Clip that. Piece of shit. Anyway. My vengeance shall be brutal.
So the thing I will say I've always liked about the Ghostlights, back on topic here, away from Napoleon, Baguette. Baguette invade Berlin and then later Moscow, but anyway.
Flush down the loo.
But yeah, I think the really fascinating thing about these lights is it's not just like one person sees it and then they never see it again. It's like series of people over decades will see these things. And they show up fairly regularly, which is even more interesting. Yeah, it's like there's a discernible pattern, which to me doesn't make the swamp gas idea hold much water. Because what
I can see that.
Think about it. When you have to have the right conditions for this, the swamp gas theory to be 100% correct. It's like, well, gee, what's going on? Why is this showing up on a day that the conditions are not conducive?
Maybe the swamp had a lot of beans.
Could be. I mean, all of those various lights had really big bean crop fail that year, every year for the last 80 years.
Yes. Patterns? What the hell are those?
I don't know.
He's evil, scary, mysterious. We don't talk about that.
Exactly.
Let's see. The journey of trying to find what works, eh? Though I'm happy you picked this one here because it gives me the opportunity to go through my brush collection more than usual. Gives me a bit of a chance to try things out. It is, of course, a long stretch of wait to make me to have me go through different things, and insecurities abound. But then again, as this is night, I can't really hit too much light, and already I can see on my screen is really dark, which is what it's supposed to be. Your screen, however, is a lot brighter. The light issue still hasn't been freaking fixed. Which is unfortunate, but no, what can you do? No. For a second. There. That's different. What do you think about this?
I like that. Yeah. Got enough layers where you can mess with the light contrast.
Yeah. It adds a little extra to it. It certainly does. Yes, let's try that. That's the wrong one, darn it. Yeah, I like it when one side aids the other. And if I do this, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Should do any of these. It's not too shabby, is it?
No, that looks pretty good.
Yeah. Though the brightness on the screen is much more than on mine. What you're seeing, what I'm now seeing is this.
Ooh.
Oh
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a bit messed up looking.
Yeah, we had it fixed, but then came an update and ruined it all, and I just noticed it. That's kind of annoying.
Yay, updates.
Uh,
Down with productivity. Yay for updates. I'm
yeah, pain
just
in the
call
head.
me Windows 11.
Huh. So, what color was the lights you said?
So it's usually depicted as kind of like a opaque reddish color.
Red, you'd say, or yellow?
A little more orange is fine. Yeah, for the flame in the lantern.
Yes. Let's look at that.
Hmm.
Oh, hello there.
Okay.
Yes, let's try that. And,
Hmm. So yeah, kind of a interesting little splash effect you've got started.
yep.
Hmm.
So, street art is really interesting. This thing. To describe sort of like a round flame, you said?
Actually, well, that's the thing. It's like a single point of light that kind of reflects off of all the surfaces around it without, like, being on fire.
Oh, none of this then, I take it. Yeah, you know what, we're keeping this
Not
here.
a ton, no. It's like there'd be reflection on the ground and other reflective surfaces, but not a big aggressive, um, yeah, like ball of flame look to it.
Um, Need to be sure that I'm using the right one. I guess basic will do.
Well, Now that's looking briefly like HAL 9000.
Yep. I'm afraid I can't let you do that, Dave. That's it's honestly a pretty decent movie.
It's one of the better sci-fi movies of that era, honestly.
Oh yeah.
It's one that really gives you a perspective of where AI could end up.
Oh yeah. It's not sentient, but it can. The thing about AI is it can imitate. That's the thing. It's imitation. You can't
Yes.
have an AI that can think, but it can imitate really well. Wait, just look at how many people literally believe that shit is alive, dude. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's try that. I want the particles to be a little bit weak. Look at that. Still. There we go. Nice.
Very.
There we go. And I'd say. Let's see how I'll do this then. Fuck it, let's go with Forrester. Just.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Well, that's cool.
Attempts are being made.
Yes. Yeah, sure, you've got a lot more talent than I've ever had.
Talent or a result of beating my head against the wall.
Potato, potato.
So yeah. If you don't have the talent, you can develop it by beating your head against the wall. That's also called practice.
I mean, I'll let you practice the hard way. Just say it.
I'm trying, you are trying, says a certain Australian a lot.
Yes, very, very trying. Mostly of nerves, strangely enough. Can't imagine why.
I have no idea what you're talking about, good sir. I am innocent of everything.
It's a lot of guilt for being that innocent.
I plead the fifth.
I demand to know answers because you're not an American.
I would say you come and get me, but the last guy who did that didn't really fare well.
You say that, but unfortunately, you're forgetting one thing. You're already stuck here with me.
Yeah. Could have been worse, I suppose.
Indeed. I could be Swedish.
Yeah, now that would be worse. That's what we call nightmare fuel, where I come from. Or even worse yet, which would cause a certain Swedish friend of ours a lot of terror. You could be a Dane.
I mean, let me consider that.
Yeah. Mel would not like that, poor thing.
No.
Oh, yeah. Going for a bit of a darker night here.
Makes sense.
So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that turned out quite well.
It did. Let's see. Might have to adjust the brightness when we're done, but yeah, it's this one is part of the experimentation book. A lot of new things were tried, a lot of new things were done. I'm pretty sure it has faults aplenty and many things that needs improving, but all things considered, It's as good as I can do it. Let's be honest. At least for the moment.
I mean, yeah, you got to start somewhere, man.
Exactly. Let's see, just gotta be sure that this one hits. Not. All right. Well, I'd like to thank you, Leech, for joining me for yet another installation of Simply Sketchy.
You're welcome as always. I guess I can let you have a little bread with your water today.
Oh, I'll have more bread. Benefit of being a chef is I make my own stuff.
True, but you have to be allowed to keep it for once.
Oh, ah. Right. It's not completely there yet. The clouds were in the wrong color.
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, we're keeping that. I'm gonna keep it on the darker side. 80% seems to be pretty good.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like that.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted. Well, and also, again, I already thank you. A big thank you to Besic for doing the edits here. He's gonna have a little bit of headache in certain areas, but I believe in you, buddy. You got this. And also a big thank you to Robert Bernardo for letting us use his music. And of course, another huge thank you to everyone who's taken time out of their day for watching and or listening to this episode of Simply Sketchy. I'll be back next week, and I'm looking forward to having you back next time, dude.
Thank you very much, and I'll see you all later.
Bye, everyone.